Congressman, Mr. Chairman, thanks for joining us. I want to start with my reporting that according to senior administration officials, President Trump told border agents to stop letting migrants, including asylum seekers, into the U.S. contrary to U.S. law. And then he told Kevin McAleenan, the Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection at the time, that he'd pardon him if he went to jail for doing so. Now, I don't know if the president was serious or joking about the pardon remark, and he's since denied it, but those are the facts as relayed to me by senior administration officials. Your response?
Well, my response is that this just shows the president's contempt for law, another instance of the president's contempt for law, to order that something clearly illegal, namely blocking people claiming asylum from coming into the country, which is clearly against our law, that be done is against the law, or offering a pardon, even if in jest, to someone who would disobey the law at the president's request. This is exactly contrary to the key presidential duty and to his oath, which is to see that the laws are faithfully executed. That's the main job of the president, to see that the laws are faithfully executed. And for a president to sabotage that goal by deliberately seeking to break the law is unforgivable. Is
this something that you think your committee will take a look at, or does your commentary on it end here on the show?
Well, it's part of a pattern of conduct that we certainly have to take a look at after we see the Mueller report.
President Trump has been pushing the Department of Homeland Security to transport undocumented immigrants to sanctuary cities and release them there. Here's what the president asserted last night in a tweet, quote, "Just out, the USA has the absolute legal right to have apprehended illegal immigrants transferred to sanctuary cities." Now, you're from New York City. That is a sanctuary city. Do you agree that the president has the, quote, absolute legal right to do this if he wants to?
No, I don't. The president has no right to spend money appropriated by Congress for other purposes to ship immigrants all over the country. If someone requests asylum, he should be considered. There should be a place for that person to stay while that asylum request is being adjudicated. Nor is it right for the president to use immigrants or people who are claiming political asylum as pawns in a fight against political opponents. He shouldn't use them as what he imagines as retribution to political opponents in various areas. It's another misuse of presidential power against the law. Now, we heard several weeks ago from whistleblowers that Steve Miller came up with this before we heard about it from any other source. Probably Steve Miller, who seems to be the boss of everybody on immigration, ought to come before Congress and explain some of these policies.
Isn't it likely that he'll claim executive privilege, given that he works in the White House and not for a department?
It is likely, but that would be a misuse of executive privilege because he seems to be making the decisions, not the cabinet secretaries who come and go.
Let's turn to the Mueller report. I know you want to talk about that. We expect that's going to be released any day now. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who appointed the special counsel in the first place, defended Attorney General Bill Barr's handling of the Mueller report, telling the Wall Street Journal that, quote, he's being as forthcoming as he can. And so this notion that he's trying to mislead people, I think, is just completely bizarre. What's your response?
Well, he would be forthcoming only if he releases the entire report and the underlying evidence to the Judiciary Committee, which has been done in every previous instance where they were looking into presidential or other misconduct. That would be, now the Judiciary Committee is the proper locus for deciding what has to be withheld from the public. Again, that's what's been done in the past. To deny the Judiciary Committee and the Congress the knowledge of what's in parts of the Mueller report is not proper. And of course, the Attorney General, when he started talking completely without evidence, as he said, about spying on the Trump campaign, when what he meant was executing judicially ordered warrants, showed his bias in the fact that he's really acting as a personal agent of the president rather than as the Attorney General of the United States in this matter.
In terms of the Mueller report, we already know that the special counsel report does not reach a conclusion when it comes to whether President Trump obstructed justice. But Attorney General Bill Barr, he did reach a conclusion. He says there is not sufficient evidence to establish that the president obstructed justice. Does that end the debate for obstruction of justice?
Well, certainly not, especially since Attorney General Barr, before he became Attorney General, wrote a long memo in which he said that a president could not obstruct justice because the president is the boss of the Justice Department and could order it around to institute an investigation, to eliminate an investigation, and could not be questioned about that. In other words, he thinks that as a matter of law, a president can't obstruct justice, which is a very wild and theory to which most people do not agree. And the fact of the matter is, we should see and judge for ourselves, and that's for Congress to judge whether the president obstructed justice or not, and for the public ultimately.
It's not the bailiwick of the Attorney General to decide that?
No, it is not the bailiwick of the Attorney General. He assumed it for himself. That is not the purpose of the law. And the fact is that we also need to see the report, because it may be that Mueller decided not to prosecute for obstruction of justice for various reasons, that there wasn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt of some things, but there still may have been proof of some very bad deeds and very bad motives, and we need to see that, and the public needs to see that.
The Attorney General, as you noted, told Congress this week that he believed, quote, spying occurred against Trump associates during the 2016 election, saying he's concerned that improper surveillance may have occurred. Now, you've asked Justice Department officials to brief you on this. Have they done that?
Well, we've, not recently, but we have reviewed the Inspector General's report and various findings over the last 2 years, and it's complete and total nonsense. The FBI followed procedure. They got a FISA warrant. They properly did it. In fact, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein signed off on one of the renewals of that FISA warrant, and that is proper legal surveillance when they were concerned that the Russians were attempting to infiltrate an American political campaign. That is not spying. Spying is a loaded word, and the Attorney General should not have used that.
I want to ask you, President Trump posted a video on Twitter attacking Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar for her speech in which she described the 9/11 terror attacks as saying some people did something. Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a statement condemning the president for what he's doing, but she also seemed to have a message for Congresswoman Omar, too, saying in her statement, the memory of 9/11 is sacred ground and any discussion of it must be done with reverence. Did you take any issue with the way Congresswoman Omar characterized 9/11?
No, I did not. She characterized it only in passing. She was talking about discrimination against Muslim Americans, and she just said that after that happened, it was used as an excuse for lots of discrimination and for withdrawal of civil liberties. No, I did not take that. I've had some problems with some of her other remarks, but not with that one. And for the president, 9/11 occurred in my district. I'm very familiar with it. I know people, a lot of people who suffered from it. I was involved. I was instrumental in getting funding for small business grants for victims of 9/11, for people with small businesses in the area. The president, he wasn't president then, but Donald Trump actually took a $150,000 grant from the Bush administration. They let him take a $150,000 grant meant for small businessmen for 40 Wall Street, the small business 40 Wall Street. He stole $150,000 from some small business person who could have used it to help rehabilitate himself, and that's why we appropriated it, why I got Congress to appropriate that money, to use it for his own small